Welcome to Laugh, Cry, or Die. This is a comedy disability podcast about life lived on the edge of health and normality. My name is Steve Wilbury, and I suck at being alive. And with me, as always, is my excellent co-host, Naomi Strain,
Hello.
who sometimes is alive.
Sometimes, not very much today. I'm not very good at being alive today. Failing.
Aliveness score of 6 out of 10.
I mean, I'm ticking the boxes for technically being alive.
So you're still breathing, I
Yeah,
hope?
mostly.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Mostly. Okay. Except
mostly.
when you stop.
Happens occasionally.
Occasionally, every once in a while. Oh man, today's topic is I think we're both a bit crap.
Yeah, very much. I think mine's a mix of being a spaz, having drugs, and normal human poorliness. Normal human sickness.
But oh my god, isn't that so bizarre? Like when you get a cold and you're like, oh wait,
It's quite exciting. This is how
feels
normal
it
people
feels
feel.
so much more like you're allowed to just lay on the couch and be snotty.
Yeah. Do you find it hard though when you get normal poorliness that because normally like we're fighting through feeling crap? And it's
Yeah.
like, technically, legally, I'm allowed to relax and do nothing because I'm normal human poorly. But
Mm.
instinctively, I want to still do everything that I normally do.
100%. Like you're like, oh my god, oh, I'm so snotty, I'm gonna die. And you're like, normal human person would be like, sit on the couch, like, yeah, but this ain't shit.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like
you
I
know,
kind of feel that I can't have a sick day because I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring.
yes.
Like if I sit and do nothing today, and then tomorrow or latest day, if I have a seizure, then that's 2 days wiped out. So I've got
Mm.
to make the most of a day while I can because I don't know
Mm.
if the next one's going to be crap or not. And it's like, damn it, I'm going to have to stop. I'm going to have to sit still on a day that isn't a seizure day.
So like
It's
when you have a seizure data, do you allow yourself to sit still or do you still like unhealthily push through?
unhealthily pushed through, of course.
Do I look well adjusted to you, sir?
It's like I've been doing this for 17 years. I really should have learned by now, but
You
no.
think, but
It's like
apparently.
when you have a sick day from school and you're not sick, you've just tricked your parents. That's
Right.
ideal because you get a sick day and you feel well. But having a sick
Mm.
day because you're actually sick, that sucks.
Yeah, no, it's like so you need to basically get a mum and scam her so you can feel more able
My
to
mum
be
would do that. If I sent my mum a message going, come on, back me up on this one. Let me have a sick day. She'd totally do that. She'd fight in
would
my
she
corner.
would she write a note to the PE teacher? Be like, Naomi doesn't have to do PE today. She's quite poorly.
Yeah, she's got her period.
She's
Gets you out
got
of everything.
cramps. She's got lady bits.
That's the best way to get out of work is say something that makes people uncomfortable. Periods if you've got a male boss, diarrhea if you've got a female boss. Nobody wants to ask questions on that.
I am about to shit myself. Can I go home?
Yeah, yep. Oh my
Yes,
God,
please do.
once. Like I like to think I'm a well-adjusted adult lady, but I'm really not because when in one of my previous jobs, I was in early and one of my colleagues, she was in early too, and she had a stomach issue and she crapped herself. And she chose me to tell. And I'm like, don't tell me. Like, I'm the biggest child out of everyone. And I had to be a grown up and go, oh, that's terrible. Like, maybe you should just take yourself home, go and look after yourself. And inside, I'm like, she crapped herself. I'm like, I should be more supportive. But like,
You
I'm such
should
a
be.
child.
Tammy, I'm trying to think of like the horrible nickname. The best I could come up with is like Tammy Shit Pants, which is just not even funny or good. So I'm a
No,
bad bully, I think is the best.
you're a rubbish bully. You need to practice more.
I think it's because I have too much empathy from actually shitting myself.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's the thing. When you tell me that you've shot yourself, then
Hmm.
that's fine. Maybe I just didn't like her. And hopefully she doesn't listen to this and recognize herself.
Well, we all know who you are, Jorinda.
I didn't mention her name or where I worked, did I?
Oh, everybody knows about that story. We've all heard.
Normally I hold a photo of her
Yeah,
just to
I've
make
seen that
sure.
PowerPoint presentation like 4 times. But it does.
Oh,
There was a post on one of the J Pouch groups today about like they just are constantly having nighttime leakage,
Mm,
as like
mm.
as they say, because it's not like, so I've worked as a support worker, right? And I've been around people who have shit themselves, like a human adult male's amount of shit at 2 in the morning.
Right. We're not talking leakage, we're talking the
No,
whole
this is
kind
like,
of.
no, that is all of your large bowel is in a thing. Cool. Let's work through this together.
Yeah.
Uh, it was a good time. Uh, but like, yeah, with J pouches, you often get this nighttime, just a little bit of a leak, like a really, like a pretty full on shart.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And there was a while where I was struggling with it with my pouchitis, and I was having to wear pads at
Mm.
night, like a baby. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's like fucking A. That's a hard nut to crack.
Yeah. Yeah. But then it's about finding your people, because if you were at my house and you went, oh my God, I've shut myself, I
Hmm.
would do everything to make you be okay with it. Like it wouldn't be an issue because you're my
And
friend.
if I did it at work, you would make fun.
Oh, of course. Shut yourself at work. But like, no, like if I had a friend who had an issue, I
Hmm.
would clean them up if they needed it. Like, say if you broke both your arms and you need somebody to wipe your ass,
Hmm.
I'd do that and it wouldn't be an issue. I mean, it wouldn't be my favorite thing to do. I wouldn't, go, please shit yourself so I can wipe your ass for you. I wouldn't be
Are you
encouraging
trying
it.
to walk sideways into your kink here, Naomi?
Yeah. Oh, scat. That's my bag then.
Well, well, there's Tom, who's one of my favorite local comics. He has an amazing bit. And he goes, I found after extensive research, I found that the worst safe word is stop. After even more research, I found out that the worst kind of mint is excrement. Unfortunately, I found out these two things at the same time.
Ooh,
I
nasty.
know, right? I love it. It's so like,
Yeah.
I'm really, I don't know. I think that speaks to like my stage persona a bit, where I'm like, I really want to make them feel uncomfortable a lot of the time.
Is that by talking about your health stuff? Is that what you mainly
Well,
go to?
no, or like just jokes that are like really push the edge, where they're like I do the needle swallow bit where I swallow needles and they come up on the string,
I know
and
how that's done and I hate it every time.
it's
Like, even
horrid.
though I
It's
know.
not a fun time for a lot of people. I had someone come up
Mm.
after the show and she was like, "My husband could not watch the needle swallow bit," and I was like,
You made me get up on stage once. You made me be the
"Oh,
punter.
did you do my volunteer for that bit?"
Yeah, and I hated every moment of it. Thank you
See
for that.
that giggle, that like joyous giggle of the fact that you felt as uncomfortable as I am, like all the fucking time.
Yeah,
Cool, I'm
like
into it.
share
You
the
know?
misery.
Yeah, but it's like it's bad stagecraft. You know, people don't pay $20 to like feel terrible. But that's like my instinctive thing on stage is I really want to push those lines.
Yeah, yeah. It's those
Which is probably
naughty
why I'm not
giggles.
booked on Disney cruises. I can't. There was something we had a meeting once, and I remember like literally drumming my heels on the floor because we had said something so hilarious, so inappropriate that you could never say, even on our very own podcast, which is full of inappropriate things. And I was just like, that is such a wrong set of words, and that really tickles my funny bone.
And so when you're with your mates in the lounge, it's all that stuff that you're not allowed to say in public.
Mm.
And it's so inappropriate. And you can be crying with laughter, but you can never share that with the world.
Yeah. I said the funniest thing yesterday. You will never know what it is.
It's like before we hit record on these podcasts.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, okay.
There's some stuff that is gratefully left in the dustbin of history that will never see the light of day. Thank
We
God.
should hit record as soon as we connect on the Zoom call. We should hit record because we could get some gold that will.
If by gold you mean immediately canceled
And arrested.
and arrested, yeah, under suspicion of multiple felonies.
Yeah, but then it'd be like we can hold it as bribery over each other.
Oh, like compromat in the Russian system.
Yeah.
It's like, I know what you said. I know.
I know what you said.
Yeah. And if you don't give me this petrochemical company. I will tell everyone. My accent is wandering like a drunken sailor.
This is why I do not do accents. I may get 2 words out and then I just turn racist.
Just be like,
it's a fine line.
Doing West Country, like, ooh, and then you know what I hate? Black peoples. See, that's you. That's you.
Always teetering on the edge of racism. Whoa, fine balancing act. Which side am I going to fall today?
See, and like it's these kinds of laughs, and I think to kind of turn it back into this podcast instead of us just being hilariously inappropriate. It's like when I was a support worker and I supported people with like really intense schizophrenia, like really they saw things that weren't there for everyone else. And they loved watching horror movies. Like they would like really like intense horror films. Like that was what they were into. And I think it was partly because they were almost desensitized from how intense everything else was. So then it needed that. Or also, I don't know if they like empathize more with the crazy shit that happens in the horror movies because that's closer to their lives or something. But I think in almost a similar way, because we have such intense struggles, those naughty giggles and the not supposed to. Does that make any sense, or am I just?
Yeah. I think it's like a release, like why the emergency services people tend to have real dark humor. Because when you see like the dregs of humanity, you've got to get into that sort of dark, inappropriate place to bounce back.
Well, it's the laugh, cry, or die thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, when you're on the edge, you can fall apart, actually die, or just like laugh, because what else can you do? And then you keep seeking out those laughs because you realize they're the most fun.
Yeah, and I think like having the sense of humor as a coping mechanism, I know that's a big thing in my family, and I know not everybody can do it, but it's helped us get through all sorts of stuff. Like when my granddad, when he had cancer and he was in the a home, hospice, whatever, or in hospital, and he was going to be losing his hair, and so when we went in to visit him, took 2 hats. So one was a cap with a fake ponytail, and that was for day-to-day wear, and the other was a disco wig for going out. And it's like just those little things that put that slant of humor on it. You know, everyone else is in the wards busy dying and being miserable and crying about their loss of life and leaving their loved ones and the sickness and the devastation. And we're like, hey, wear a party wig. It is a mindset. And if you can get into that silly joking about it, but it has to be with the right people. Like, you know how our conversation is having a spaz or being a spaz.
Yeah.
When the paramedics come to me, they know that's what I refer to it as, and that's all cool. But there are a couple when they've come to me for the very first time, and I don't know who they are, and they've said, "Yeah, it's all right, you're having a spaz," and it's like, no, you have to get into the right, I know, place in our relationship to be able to call it that. Like if somebody in the supermarket went, "Oh, look at you being a spaz," I'm like, "Fuck off." Whereas if you said it, they'd be like, yeah, I am being a spaz. You know? And so it's like finding the right people that you know it comes from a place of caring and a place of love rather than from a place of a lack of knowledge or judgmental.
So this might be me being too medicated, so feel free to tell me to shut up if I'm waxing too philosophical.
All right, shut up.
Right then. We'll go back in the box.
Night.
Go sleep like a bird. Just put a blanket over my head. So like, right, bear with me. Slightly tortured analogy. Elon Musk is flat because he stopped developing as a human being when he got a shitload of money and was successful, you know?
Yeah.
And that I think a lot of people, once they get to a place of certain comfort, stop maybe trying to improve themselves as much and have less compassion for people who haven't gotten to that place. And like, oh, well, I've got a house and 2 cars. Why can't you do it? You like, I can do it. I did it. And whereas because we are incapable of normal function, we have to keep being more, we just are more compassionate because we have seen how hard it is. So then
and I think because
celebrate successes more.
Yeah, well, there's aspects that we fail in, and I kind of think we kind of try and make up for it in other ways.
Hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I can't work a full-time job, but I can assist people with moving house, or we try and find ways that we can, I don't know, make ourselves useful in the world, or nice people.
Hmm.
So if we're letting people down on one hand, we're raising them up in the other. So we are constantly learning and growing.
Well, it's like with the stage stuff. It was I was like, I can't work a normal job. Doing magic is like one of the better paying stage things because it is
Mm.
secret and difficult and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm still going and I'm like making people happy. Like,
Yes.
and that whilst also making them uncomfortable and making me happy because I like it when they're
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah. So when I had my ankle surgery, I had seizures on the operating table, and they gave me a drug, my normal drug they give me, midazolam, but they also gave me a drug called droperidol, which is a strong sedative that apparently they would give to people who are like aggressive and you need to take them down, or if they're in a lot of pain and nauseous, because it's an antiemetic as well. That's the word, isn't it? Yeah. So I don't know why they gave that to me, but it made me so fucked up, like barely able to open my eyes, and so confused and anxious and sick. And I thought, okay, that was just a weird one. But they did it on Friday as well. I had a seizure Friday. And I've got new party tricks apparently. So I have a seizure and then I come out of it, and then I fall back into a full-blown seizure, and then I come out of it, and it keeps on going. And so they have to medicate me because it was just going on for so long. And they apparently, in hospital, they gave me droperidol again, and I'm not okay from it. And so one of my friends who's a medical person looked up, the side effects and all that kind of thing from it. And I'm having them all. I'm very drug sensitive. And even though we're now, 3 days on, I'm not back to normal yet. And I'm going to have to contact my neurologist and see if they can not give me that drug. And I don't know why they've suddenly started giving it to me. Like, because of that, like, my alarm, my St. John alarm that I've got here, I've unplugged it and taken it off the wall because I can't handle going in and getting that again. And so until I've spoken to my neurologist and got them to agree, please don't give me that drug, I'm not plugging it back in again.
Right.
Yeah, it's too much. And it's like, yeah, it may have helped stop the seizures, but just give me more of the normal one that you give me, because that stops me.
When
I'd rather have the seizures than have that drug again.
in order to get into the pain camp program that I
Mm,
went to that has like helped the most with my pain, you have to quote unquote like try every available medical option,
yeah.
and some of these include really early anti-epilepsy drugs,
Okay.
because it just like slows down your nervous system. And so in some people, like 13% or 30%, like a really small percentage, they can help. So they're like, you have to try everything medical that can help before you get to the service. And over the
Right.
course of 2 months, I went through 4 different anti-epileptic drugs of like the
Mm.
old, like the big purple ones.
I mean, the main ones that people take are sodium valproate,
Yeah, sodium valproate. Yeah, I did.
which I think is Epilim. I think is a brand name. There's Keppra, there's
Yeah,
levetiracetam, there's
but
phenytoin,
like
there's
like drugs from like the 50s,
yeah,
like
yeah,
sledgehammer drugs.
yeah.
And when I started taking them, I had learned how to solve a Rubik's cube. And at the end of the second week, I could no longer solve the Rubik's cube. Just like the wet blanket, like just brain fog.
Yeah, well, that's the way I described this droperidol. It's like I feel like my brain has been dipped in gravy.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's just
I
slow,
resonate.
sluggish. Yeah, it's awful.
It's like I is sometimes I'm like, is this what being thick is like? Because you're staring at something and you're like, I know there's a thing that I interact with this chair. Do I
I I'm really jealous of thick people because they're really happy because they don't see any. Well, yeah, they just plod along, and it seems nice and easy. I think like when people, the more intelligent people get, the more unhappy they are because they can see what more possibilities there are or
So
how
what
they
I'm
could
hearing
improve.
is that we are basically Stephen Hawking
Yeah, yeah.
because he was also spaz.
I know I'm more intelligent than most people I know.
Is that because all your friends are thick, or
I only
because
hang
you're
around with
smart?
thick people to make me feel better.
Yeah. Like, I give a very rigorous intelligence test before I'm like, yes, you are the one. And then we sit and just stare at the wallpaper.
See, this is where I'm friends with you.
Well, there you go. I
Oh
am
yeah.
unintelligent. Right? And I think, well, the thing is, when I was younger, before all the years of pounds of medical cannabis and just like that, my brain just being fried, I used to be a lot smarter. Like
Right.
working on the bus, I was putting in headlights and I had to do relays and some like, like not hugely advanced electrical work, but I had to do a circuit diagram and it was like, enough that it was
Yeah.
more than a couple YouTube videos. And I had to eventually just give up because I was like, the amount of energy it's going to take me to put myself into this headspace for half an hour to do this tiny piece of it. And then it's going to take me
Mm-hmm.
like 3 hours to recover.
And keeping that train of thought all the way
Mm.
through consistently at the same level to achieve it, that's really
Yeah.
hard. That's staying on
Yeah.
track.
It's that consistency. It's like, and that's where, like, I think when I think about, earning money, it's like being a stage person really works because I can go and be a little spark for 45 minutes and
Yes.
then recover. And then,
Yeah.
whereas I can't be an 8 hour office day person. I just don't. I just can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if now, I mean, I used to deal with reports and debts and, having to hold like 10 different calculations in my head at once to try and work things out.
Mm.
And it's like, yeah, I could probably still do that, but it would be so hard. Like I've got a good brain.
Mm.
Like, I'm pretty pleased. I'm not stupid. I've got quite a good imagination with things. I'm nice. Shut the fuck up. But I can't do it in a way that could make me money. I can do it in a way that makes
Yes.
me feel a little ego boost in my lounge.
It's like I was gonna do a bit when I open, and I was talk about how like I am the world's most expensive magician. Like, behold, I am social medicine made flesh. I am the very thought that maybe if I pay 5% in taxes, somebody won't be dead. Which I thought would be a nice like
Yeah.
opener or something.
That's your little contribution to offset the burden you've been on the medical system.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I like to think I
Behold, your
paid.
tax dollars at work.
How selfish. You work for so many years and then you use it all up yourself. So yeah, I'd
Well,
need to do a
maybe not.
lot. I'd need to do a lot to offset my costs. So I was actually talking earlier today about because I've had so many presentations at ED and with St. John lately, I'm waiting for the neurological team to contact me because every now and again, when I've had an uptick in
Mm.
presentations, they do these like multidisciplinary hearings. So we'll get somebody from ED and somebody from St. John, and a neurologist and possibly a psychologist, and they all go, "We've seen you a lot lately. What's going on?" And it's like, the seizures. And I'm fully prepared for one to be coming up soon.
Mm.
And it feels like when you have to go to war, like prepare yourself to go in and fight your own corner. And it's like,
Mm.
we're supposed to be on the same team. And the whole point of those meetings is to lessen the expense on the
Yeah.
system.
It's
It's
yeah.
nothing to do with my quality of life. That's way down the list. It's the burden and the expense. And so you have to
Well,
go and
it's
fight for
like
yourself.
there's so much that each person is supposed to cost the system, and when you don't, then the system says, "Well, let's make. How can we just not? Have you tried not having seizures, Naomi? Have you tried drinking water? Are you going for walks? How's your mental health?" And you're like, "I'm, I'm doing all the things. I'm just fucking broken."
Yeah, yeah. I can't just like they turn around and say, "Stop having the seizures." Go, okay, all right then. Yeah, what silly me. just having seizures. You know, if it was it's easy. Like I will do all the tips and tricks. I've done all the psychological work. I've tried everything. I just have seizures. And it should be a matter of going into these appointments rather than going, how can you stop costing us money? It should be, what can we do to help fix or help mitigate, or what can we improve my quality of life with?
Yeah, I think it should be like, you're having a shitload of seizures. This is probably impacting you,
Yeah.
instead of
It's
the
never
system
a
saying,
consideration. Never a
yeah,
consideration. And that's why with this droperidol they've recently started giving me, I am going to ask, please don't give that to me. But from their point of view, if it's, oh, this will quickly stop the seizures, and, you know, who knows, that might be a cheaper drug. I don't know. But it's, you know,
well, if it stops the seizures quicker, and it's a difference between you and ED tying up a bed for half an hour and you in the high dependency unit for 3 days, they're like, well, it sucks, but it's just gonna have to suck.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's always going to be a trade-off
But
with,
you do have rights to not be treated. They legally cannot be like, you're too expensive, you have to have this drug. That's very
yeah,
much not.
yeah. And like I say, I would rather have the seizures than have that drug again.
Mm.
So I have to
And
try.
it was the same when I had the epilepsy drugs, and I was like,
Mm.
I would rather be in pain than whatever the fuck is happening to me, because this is just not okay. They tried me on this one called amitriptyline,
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah,
and I just did not tolerate it. And even after I had stopped taking it, like for months, it's just so intense the way a little pill can make you feel if your body is like, this is not the right one for me.
yeah, yeah. And like sometimes they're like, oh, it's just the side effects, and it's like sometimes the side effects are worse
Oh yeah. Well,
than the
that's
thing they're
like
trying to
all
cure.
medicine is the balance between the beneficial and the side effects. And
Yeah,
sometimes the side effects turn into, like, boner pills were supposed to be heart medication, but they had the side effect.
yeah, yeah. It's like rebadging it.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're all just like poking different bits of your system to see what other bits react,
yeah,
because it's like, Western, I think it's a lot more interconnected than Western medicine thinks it is, but I don't think it's quite as interconnected as Eastern medicine thinks it is. Like, there's in like, because I got really into like qigong and Chinese medicine and stuff when I was trying to figure out like the energy of my pain and what was
right.
going on, and I went
Yeah.
for like a real deep dive um into that kind of stuff,
Mm.
because I wasn't getting the answers from the Western medicine. The pills weren't working, so I
Yeah,
had to look
yeah,
at something else.
yeah.
Um, and the real answer, which is what was on the pain campus, is it's a little bit of both.
It's like that, what, like holistic
Oh
acupuncture,
yeah,
or
it's more
that
no,
side of
it's
things.
more like, so when at pain camp, it was information sessions, a lot of information to understand your condition,
Mm.
physiotherapy, relaxation training, task adjustment, occupational therapy, and it was like all of the different things together, instead of just like, oh, your leg hurts, here's a leg hurts pill.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
you have to look at your life and what success means. And like, I think when you are a spaz, that success can get down to, am I having a shower, am I clean, am I fed?
yeah. Are you
Like,
ticking the basic
real
boxes?
basic self-care. And I know that when I'm struggling in a pit, and I'm like, when was the last time I had a shower? And I'm like, I should probably have a shower. And then I get out, I'm like, I should probably eat lunch. And it's like, you have to just start at this tiny box that gets ignored most of the time, because most people just go and have a shower, instead of a shower is like a planned activity that's going to take 4.5 spoons, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it's like that, because you're feeling so crap in the moment. It's like, you know, in half an hour you'll feel better because you've had a
Mm.
shower. And that's why after I got home from hospital after this stupid new drug, it's like I knew that I just needed to shower and get myself back to normal. But when I got back from the hospital, I literally got into bed. I still had my coat on and my trainers on, and I got into bed and slept until the next day. Well, I say slept, I was kind of in a drug induced nonsense,
Don't
like
you hate
hallucinating.
the fucking, like, the I get such bad anxiety with those kinds of states, because I'm like, you're not asleep, you're not awake, you're just, it's all just very confusing.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
so
see,
you're
on
like,
that, I actually, when I was sat on the side of the bed in the hospital, and one of the side effects is it's like this real anxiousness. And it's like the thought of getting home, like how it was going to happen, the mechanics of getting home was
yeah.
so stressful. And I just wanted my mum to come and get me and put me to bed.
Mm.
And so I called Donna's mum, and Donna's mum came and got me and put her cardigan on me because I was cold, and she brought me home. And it's like, I just needed a mum. I couldn't do it myself. I couldn't handle a taxi, you know. It's like I needed someone to look after me and understand. And so
Mm.
that's making me bloody emotional, which is nonsense. But
It's the drugs.
yeah, yeah, when you're in such a low place and you're so vulnerable,
Mm.
um, and you're trying to look after yourself and you can't.
Yeah.
That's a
And
really
like
hard place.
it's there was a meme you put on the Facebook page the other day about like the pie of like how people's success, and it's like half your job and half how much you get paid, but the pie is much more complicated, and there's just not value in in today's society on those other pieces of the pie. And like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
very idea that someone who's maybe not contributing as much financially could have other things to contribute is just like madness to most
yeah,
people.
yeah. It's like if your job title and the things you own are what you're judged by, then we're failing.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. You think my in-laws are stoked that their father of their son is a magician? They're super excited that he's lost like 5 jobs.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
think they're really like
you're a catch.
they're super into it. Super duper into it.
So that's why we do have to do things though to make ourselves feel better about our own existence, like justify ourselves. And that's why like I like doing, the film and theatre stuff, and why I dabble in
Yeah.
writing things is because it gives you some kind of value that, earn your place on the earth. And if you can't earn it through a job or
Well, it's that's the creative. There is a value that is placed on creativity and creative people, but it's not like monetarily returned until you're at the top.
yeah,
Really,
yeah,
like it's like struggle, 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 struggle. Here's some money. There's no middle way. It feels like
yeah.
as an artiste, especially in a place like fucking Nelson in New
Oh,
Zealand.
yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I think generally in Nelson, if you're doing much in the creative arts, you're doing it for the love of and the passion for, as
Mm.
opposed to the reward from
Yeah,
it.
very
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Which I think, like, if you're coming to an artistic endeavor from that place, the chances of it being shit are much less. If you're coming to it from like, I want to make some money, the chances of it being a shit artistic endeavor are much higher.
yeah.
And but that's just not to say shit things don't make money.
Oh, I was going to say, like, if you get like all the American sitcoms, you've got a stencil
Mm.
of this person does this, this is the result, then this happens. Hooray, happy days. And it's the same stencil for every episode, for every sitcom, and it makes money because that's what works. And it's shit and it's trash and it's tripe, but we watch it. And so when you're doing something for passion that's slightly outside the box, you're going to be lucky to actually make money from it.
If you're somebody who's in a like comfortable financial position and has time after they've worked their 8 hours a day, they have a bit of time and energy and space to pursue something. It's a different vibe, I think, to somebody who's like, well, it's either do something creative or literally sit and watch TV and wait to die.
Yeah, yeah. And then creatives, like, I'm a big believer in creatives supporting other creatives. So when
Mm.
you find other people that are, trying to push, their product or, their music or their films or whatever, I think we've kind of got a duty to each other to push that.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to be really
Yeah.
pleased for each other's successes. It's like me and my friend Donna, we both act, and she's a lot better and it's a lot more of her life path. And so I will
Mm.
push her at every opportunity. And we've had these conversations about if we were both auditioning for a role, that how would we, it's one of those conversations you got to have. It's like, how would we manage that? Are we going to both go for it, or does one of us have to step back? And it's like, we can both go for a role. And if I don't get it, I want her to get it. And if she doesn't get it, she wants me to have it.
Mm.
And there's no professional backstabbing or anything like that. It's like, I'm genuinely so excited when she gets, an awesome thing happen to her. There's no, I think there can be a jealousy amongst people if one's succeeding and one's not. It's like, I want all my creative people, I want all of them to succeed, And so I think we've really got to push each other up and encourage each other and share each other's projects and like each other's projects. And yeah, with it being quite a tight industry to be in, I think we have to all push each other.
Well, otherwise, because the socio-economic force isn't there, so it's like, and just something simple. I read a thing and it was like, if your friend has an online business, buy something from them, do a little post. They might get 4 or 5 sales out of it.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And sometimes it can just be as easy as sharing their post or commenting on their post and, pushing the algorithms or, which is me basically saying, hey, everybody, go onto TikTok and the Facebook Reels and like and comment on everything, please. Push us up the algorithms. Lots of comments.
Well, it's I think it's so trite, the like and subscribe thing, but it is like important financially these days. I think
It
that's
feels
one of the other
horrible.
reasons.
It
I
does
know.
feel horrible saying
I
like,
think
hey, guys, like and subscribe. It's like, yeah, horrid, but please do.
I like saying, tell your friends,
Yeah, that's nicer. Yeah.
because that's like almost in a lot of ways is more valuable than one tick box amongst 3,000
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like, if you go and you're like, I've listened to this podcast, it's great, or someone with a disability who's could use someone to understand and hear
Yeah.
what they're going through.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is us, by the way. That's what we do. We make
We're
it
public
okay to be
service.
broken.
Public service here, serving the community.
Well, I do think, there's the whole. I was talking to somebody about getting some funding for my unluckiest magician show about my surgeries and my travails and my struggles, and I
Mm.
was like, does the whole disability representation thing, is that like a good thing to push? And she's like, yes, you idiot.
Because it's outside people's normal day-to-day
Yeah.
life. So for people who it's outside of their norm, they like having an insight into it.
Mm,
And for people who it is part of their day-to-day norm, like the fact that there's other messed up people who are willing to have a laugh about it. It's like the
mm.
amount of people that have said, like it just makes them feel better knowing that we can laugh and joke about it. It's all right to do that. We don't have to take ourselves too
It is
seriously.
so intensely lonely, if you don't have, like you're saying before about finding your people,
Yeah.
find your people in any case, even if you don't have a spaz condition, that like finding those people who you click with, who, when you throw a joke, they'll catch it every time, kind of thing.
Yeah. And if you mess up, they are still there,
Yeah.
or you can speak your vulnerable truths. Like there's a thing that I won't go into at the minute, but me and a friend were messaging about it and we're having a bit of a conflict about what the social expectations the social expectations are on the subject versus how we're actually feeling. And it was a
Mm,
bit of but we're supposed to feel like this, but we're actually feeling like this. And the fact that we could admit that I'm kind of doubting myself
mm,
without having that judgment. It's like those things that you're not allowed to say if you can talk them through with somebody. So like finding your people who you can be completely authentic with, as cheesy as that sounds,
mm.
is so valuable.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Mm.
Like when I was 22, I went to my first juggling convention, and I remember going to the dance tent, and everybody had the same kind of like slightly weird, jerky dance style that I did.
Right,
And I
yeah.
was like, oh, this is where they are.
That's your people. Yes.
And I've really struggled with New Zealand. Like I went when we first landed, and I was doing like some theater stuff with a group who were like supposed to be this professional theater company. And I was like, oh, these are like my people I had in the UK when I worked with a theater company
Yeah.
who were all. And then after a year or two, I was like, oh no, these are small town theater people. To use like they weren't serious people.
Right.
To use
Yes.
like a Succession thing. Like they they would apply for funding, but then not apply for funding to pay people for rehearsals because you were supposed to love how much doing the thing was, you know?
Doing it for the fun of it. Yeah, yeah. Which has its place. It has its place.
It does. And I think if you can, but it was my mistake because I thought they were a different kind of people. But
Mm-hmm.
they were just not my ones. And it's taken
Yeah.
me a long time to find my ones, especially as we mentioned, in a town like Nelson.
Lovely, lovely Nelson.
What a shithole. It's pretty. The sun is nice.
It's harmless. I mean, for me, I'm trapped, but I have to look at the positives of that. The fact that it's a small town means that paramedics know me personally and can apply my care plan properly because they can spend that little bit more time with me. So it's good in a way that I'm here. In a big city, it'd be quite different.
Well, I think that's kind of the end of the episode. It's been a little bit meandering today, but I think that's us today. We're just a little bit floaty and like
Brain fog, very foggy.
rain foggy today. Today is very, very foggy. I couldn't sleep last night and I took a melatonin at 3 a.m., which is not the time you're supposed to take them.
No, I fully expected that you would have to because I knew you were out last night and I thought you may be paying the price for that.
It was 2 hours. I mean, I went to saw Bill Bailey, who was so fun, just fantastic. But it was bright ass lights, uncomfortable chairs. It was really hot. It was loud. It was like everything that my nervous system is like, oh, this is pain. This is all pain, isn't it? I'm like, no, it's not pain. It's fine. It's like, no, I think we'll just call it pain. We'll just say pain. Are you sure? Yeah, it's pain. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, we know pain. We understand pain. Let's do that.
Pain. Yeah, we'll just color it all pain. It's like, but it's a funny show. It's like, that's very bright, isn't it?
Yeah.
He did play the laser harp, which was amazing.
Oh, nice.
Such an actual like genius, like proper virtuoso magician and sorry, a musician.
Yeah, his music skills are amazing. And the fact that he can turn that into a comedy show, very intelligent, very skilled.
Yeah, and it's like the way he understands like the nature of sound so much. Like he does a lot with like changing major and minor chords. And he's like, oh, this one's that, and this. And he did a bit where he's like, he would turn any modern song into a ragtime, like
right. Yeah, because he does stuff like with theme tunes of TV shows and things like that, eh? Yeah. You should have a look on YouTube. He does some like theory of music and like they're serious videos. It's not like, it's got his spin on it, but yeah, he understands music from a scientific almost point of view.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
he's also a really avid naturist. He's such a cool dude.
He really is, isn't he?
He lives in Jakarta, apparently.
Oh, nice. My dad spent a lot of time there.
Right. That's probably the end of this episode as well. So let's just go ahead and say goodnight. Tell your friends they've enjoyed the show. And we'll see you guys again next time.
See you next time.